Vasishta continued. There is a shower of nectar from Brahman, and this is considered creation. A shower of nectar. This is the stream of experiencing. It's the unfolding of infinite manifestation from moment to moment. There's this ongoing creative flow happening from moment to moment. And we're quite oblivious to it most of the time. We've got it all nicely parcelled up according to our notions of what's going on. We do this in terms of time and space. We parcel things up into the past, the future, the present moment. We parcel things up into far and near, here and there. And this becomes our reality. This becomes what's described as creation. However, since time and space do not exist in reality, such creation is unreal. And what appears to be is non-different from the Lord. And the Lord here is Brahman, the absolute infinite, the creative potential which is manifesting right now. So time and space do not exist in reality. You might have a problem with that. Although religious and scientific people don't seem to have a problem with it. According to the scientists, the universe came into existence 15 billion years ago or thereabouts. And at that point, time and space also began. So there was a timelessness, or there was a point at which there was neither time nor space. And we're told that the universe is expanding. It's not that it's just like a balloon getting bigger. When we say the universe is expanding, we're saying that the space is expanding. Space is being created all the time. And that's what the expanding universe is about. It's not that the stars and planets are just moving into further reaches of space. No, it's the space itself that's expanding. One wonders about time. Is time not doing anything? If space is expanding, what's time doing? Anyway, that's the scientific story. So from the point of view of science, it's quite feasible. Well, science assumes that there's a point at which there was neither time nor space. But the philosophers understand time and space slightly differently. Time and space are the organising parameters of our mind. Time and space are that by which we organise things. If there wasn't time and space, we couldn't have our notions of past, present and future, and here, there, far, near. So time and space are understood as, we could say, they're the limiting factors of consciousness. They don't really exist as such. We could describe them as a particular mode. Just as when we're dreaming, we're in a certain mode. Just as it is water that appears as a whirlpool, and just as smoke seen from a distance has the appearance of a cloud, even so when consciousness becomes aware of itself, thus giving rise to a notion, which is inert, between the two, consciousness and the notion, there arises the third factor, which is known as creation. Consciousness, being infinite, experiences itself in infinite ways. And once it starts to experience itself, there become two things. There becomes the experience and what's doing the experiencing. Then there becomes a relationship between the two. Stories start being created between the two about how one came into being with respect to another, and there's a whole emotional and psychological relationship, and this is described as creation. This creation is but an appearance, like a plantain tree reflected in a pillar or crystal. But when rightly investigated, this notion of reality in the unreal appearance vanishes, while its notional nature becomes apparent. This is rather a nice simile we've got. A plantain tree reflected in a pillar. If you just assume it's a tree, it's reflected in a pillar. and the pillar might be mistaken for the tree. But the plantain tree is special because it's made up of, its trunk is made up of fibrous leaves which wrap around each other, and you can peel them apart and there's nothing inside. So it's a double illusion. You can examine the reflection, you can realize it's a reflection, you can examine what's being reflected, and at its heart there's nothing there. So when we look into our notions of reality, our conviction in its reality starts to weaken. What's time and space after all? Are they any more than notions? We're supposed to be living in this physical reality. We like things that we can touch, don't we? We say this is real, this is not real. Time doesn't present itself to any of our senses. I can't say, look, this is 1 second. I can point to a dial on a clock and I can point to numbers. But that's just our way of creating time. That's how we create time. We've got memories, we say there's past, present and future, but that's just another way of dividing things up. We've created that notion. And what about space? If my height appears to vary depending on what distance you look at me from. Although you don't say that my height's varying, you say I'm farther away. And if I'm not visible at all, then I'm very far away. Or we say that things that I can touch are nearby and things which I cannot touch are further away. But this therefore is relating to sensations and the interpretation of sensations. Or we could say the creation is like a plantain tree reflected in a crystal, and then it's multifaceted. It's like being in a room of mirrors. There seems to be a multitude of stuff going on, and there's only the one thing. This world appearance is like an empire painted on a canvas. Just as the canvas is made attractive by the use of different colours, this world appearance seems to be attractive with diverse sense experiences. This appearance is dependent upon the seer, the ego sense, which itself is unreal. Hence it is non-different from the Supreme Self, even as liquidity is inseparable from water.